Well, a new poll has found most Americans believed Volodymyr Zelensky's behaviour at the White House towards the US President Donald Trump was offensive. 49% of people polled believed Trump and JD Vance had a stronger argument than Zelensky, and 62% believed that Zelensky had been offensive in his behaviour in the Oval Office. Joining us now is Brad versus Everyone podcast host Brad Palumbo. Brad, great to have you on the program again. The media predictably called Trump a bully for what happened with Zelensky, but according to the polling, mainstream America was pleased to finally have a president putting America first.
Yeah, look, that meeting was a hot mess, but I can completely understand why people feel this way about Zelensky. We've given their country north of $100 billion in taxpayer aid, truly an astounding amount of money. And he was sitting there rolling his eyes and interrupting and arguing with them. And even if he disagreed with some of the points, I don't think that was the right way to handle it. And I don't think that, honestly, even him leaving Washington will probably be like, wow, did I really mishandle it that badly? Because this is not an outcome for him that he would have wanted. It's not really an outcome that I think anybody would have wanted. And at the end of the day, it's not too much to ask for a little bit of gratitude. And he has thanked the U.S., of course, in statements and in past approaches, but he was very argumentative. But ultimately, I think most Americans will judge Trump by the outcome here, not by one meeting, not by his words. Is he able to achieve a peace deal? He may say a lot of things along the way that people have strong feelings about, or that people find inaccurate or offensive about the conflict. But are you going to get a peace deal? If he gets a peace deal, it will all be remembered well, and everything else will fade to the noise. If he gets a lasting and successful peace deal, that's what people want.
That's a really good point, Brad. I completely agree with you there. Now, look, filmmaker and activist Michael Moore has gone on this bizarre, wild rant, warning that by deporting illegal immigrants, America may be missing out on the next equivalent of Apple co-founder Steve Jobs, or one that will save the world from a killer asteroid, or even a migrant who could have cured cancer. He also declared that he often feels compelled to pause, get down on one knee and thank immigrants for coming to America. Brad, I mean, the alternative really here is to come to America legally, right? Surely it can't be that deep.
Yeah, of course. And I wonder if he had this same energy when Obama deported millions of people or when Biden deported millions of people. I mean, enforcing immigration law is not a radical or new thing, no matter how many times they insist otherwise. And it just is kind of funny because when Democrats and left-wingers here talk about immigration, they often accidentally say the most absurd things. I've heard people say, oh, well, Elon Musk doesn't love America because he's not from here. And I'm like, hold up. You realize that's completely out of line with everything you say that you believe. In the same way, when they depict illegal immigrants as like, well, who's going to pick your crops, Trump? Or there's an amazing clip from The View where they go, who's going to clean your toilet bowl, Donald Trump? They don't seem to realize that they're actually peddling stereotypes and spreading pretty naive narratives about immigration that they would surely object to if they came from the other side. And Michael Moore is a bit of a clown and has been for a very long time. So I think this is just more attention seeking from him.
It certainly seems that way. Let's talk about DOGE for a minute. The Trump administration has sent federal workers a second email asking them to justify their jobs. This is all part of an initiative to slash spending, but boy, has it got lefties in a spin.
The email that came out wanting us to justify our jobs with 5 things we did last week was on Saturday night. Yeah. And I was literally working on Saturday night to make up for all the distractions I had had the previous week, which came from the executive branch. And so I'm working, trying to catch up on things, and then I get that email on top of it. It's very hard to keep your train of thought when you're getting threatened and harassed like that.
A simple productivity report is threatening and harassing, Brad.
Oh my goodness. Look, this is so ridiculous and maddening. We're seeing this from a lot of federal workers now as they're getting extremely normal, extremely basic requests like, hey, we want to know what you've been up to and if you've really been doing your job, because many of them haven't been into the office almost at all for years now. So when they act like an email asking you what you did last week, or reply to this email within a few days with an update, when they act like it's abusive, threatening, harassing, all these absurd things, what they are revealing is that they're totally out of touch. And everyday Americans have bosses and have expectations and have accountability in their jobs. And that is not a hate crime, in fact. And these people, look, they might have some legitimate complaints about how they're treated by Doge, but when they go in front of the cameras like this, they just lose all sympathy. No real person who's ever had a real job is going to be scandalized by the Trump administration asking people, what did you do last week? Let us know. And they're so out of touch, and it's so painful, and it just shows.
We're almost out of time, Brad, but very quickly, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is announced that he's running for New York City mayor. What do you make of that one?
He belongs in prison, not anywhere else. I mean, look, he forced COVID-positive patients into nursing homes, got elderly people killed, and then tried to cover it up in a massive scandal. I think it's a disgrace, and if they actually go with him, I'll be stunned.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? And plus, he faced a number of allegations dating back to 2021 as well. Brad Palumbo, thank you, as always, for helping us make sense of America. Appreciate it.